got a few ways for you to optically accept the authority of Jesus Christ. Number one, by agreeing not to look at things that are displeasing to him. Just agreeing not to look at things that are displeasing to him. All right. Job 31, verse 1 through 4. It says this. Now, I want to give some context to this. You guys, familiar with the story of Job, and Job's life just went haywire. He went from being on top to the very bottom, and Job was wondering what was going on, and he was trying to get back to right standing with God. He was seeking God's presence and being in right standing. He couldn't understand why his life had shifted so drastically, and he didn't feel like he had done anything to cause that to happen, but he was longing for being back in right standing with God. And in his quest for that, he says this here in Job 31, 1 through 4. I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a young woman. I want to sit on that for a moment. Job says, me and my eyes, we came up with an agreement. And it wasn't just one of those, light agreements. He terms it a covenant, a deeper, more dedicated, a more committed agreement. And he made it with his eyes. He says, I'm not going to look lustfully on something I ought not be looking lustfully on. I should be looking lustfully anyway. I'm not going to use my eyes to fulfill my lust.
Don't want to fulfill the flesh.
Don't want to fulfill the flesh. Job says, I ain't going to do it. And he says, and I made an agreement. So you can make an agreement with your eyes. Yeah. And you probably already know what it is that you're looking at. You might not need to be looking at. Right. And we can talk more about that as we move on here. I don't have to tell you. You know what it is. All right. And verse 2 reads on, and he gives us some reasons why he made this covenant. Verse 2 says, for what is our lot from God above? Our heritage from the Almighty on high. Is it not ruin for the wicked? Disaster for those who do wrong? In other words, if I don't make this agreement and I use my eyes inappropriately, then I know what my lot is. I know what I get for that. Okay? And that's ruin. And then verse 4 says, does he not see my ways and count my every step?
Yes, he does.
He says, if I just do what I want to do with my eyes, there's no reward in that. In fact, there's ruin if I do that, Job is saying. And I know God sees what I'm looking at. He sees it.
And he already knows before you even look that you're thinking about looking.
Yeah, he already knows that you're thinking about looking even before you look.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So Job wanted to get back into right standing. And he didn't want to do anything sinful with his eyes. Look at what Psalms 101 verse 3 says. It says, I will set nothing wicked before my eyes. Woo! I will set nothing wicked before my eyes. I remember I asked someone older than me who I would consider a mentor. I asked him, I said, what? Because I wanted to know what it's like to grow older, and what is it like to walk with the Lord as you're growing older? I was inquiring about that, and I said, what do you find to be some struggles for you? And he graciously told me, he said, there are some experiences that I've had that my eyes have seen that I can't get out of my head. Wow. That's what he told me. And he said he wished he hadn't had those experiences. He wished he hadn't done those things because it's still in his head. And it visits him from time to time. And he didn't. And it was a struggle. He considered it a struggle. Things his eyes had seen. Couldn't get out of his head. The thing that happens here when what we see gets downloaded into the hard drives of our minds, and they stay there. They stay there. So it's best for us not to create those negative, sinful visual memories, because they will from time to time come back and haunt us. We got to be careful. As I said earlier, it's important what you do, what we do with our eyes.